Hello and welcome to Down and Dirty with Darci. I'm your host, Darci Smith, also known as Career Coach Darci. We are here to get down and dirty about careers, uncovering salaries, wild stories, backgrounds, and more from guests with some of the most eccentric professions each week. This podcast is presented by Onomy. Welcome back to Down and Dirty with Darci. I have Nicole with me here today. Nicole Burron. Oh my God, I messed it up.
Okay, you're good.
I asked her before. Nicole Burron, okay, is a spiritual mentor who focuses on providing guidance in the areas of psychic mediumship, shadow work, and astrology. Nicole lives in Portland with her husband, son, dogs, and snake. In mine astrology, she was born on the death day, which I thought was so cool, which is a day of transformation and rebirth. And she has a galactic tone of 7, which I don't know what that is, but it's a bridge between spirit world and this realm. I cannot wait to learn more about Nicole and her career. Welcome to the podcast, Nicole. Let's get down and fucking dirty. You can cuss on this podcast.
Oh, fantastic.
Okay, I don't even know where to start, so I'm just going to ask from the beginning. Like, have you always been spiritual, like, since you were a kid? What did that look like? What was that growing up?
I grew up in a lot of haunted houses with my mom. My mom was a sensitive and just very into the metaphysical and paranormal. There was a metaphysical shop. I grew up in Vegas.
Okay.
Called Third Eye Books, I think. And we always used to go there, and we always liked watching like scary movies. And when we would go on road trips, we would always stop at graveyards and cemeteries.
Oh my gosh.
And so she was, I feel, really sensitive to all of it, but she didn't really understand it either. And I didn't really understand it when I was younger. I just thought everyone kind of experienced these things because it wasn't like how it was depicted in films or Ghost Whisperer. I mean, Ghost Whisperer came out when I was older, but it wasn't like that. So I was just like, oh, this is just a thing. And so I didn't really realize not everyone was experiencing this until I was probably in my like preteens.
Okay, so you thought it was like just normal.
Yeah,
did you see things or did you hear or it was like a feeling?
I would sometimes see things. It's more like out of the corner of the eye. When my eyes are closed, I get a bunch of images. Whoa. And so I was like, I just have a really vivid imagination. And all the teachers were like, she just has a really vivid imagination. But it's not like Ghost Whisperer where I see a full body apparition or anything like that. Okay. So I would constantly like hear things and feel things and just kind of I consider myself a highly sensitive person too. So energy just as a whole is a bit overwhelming, and I'm a bit sensory avoiding and things like that. So it was just kind of a lot of little things that just felt very normal to me. But I never saw like ghosts all the time. It was more just like weird stuff and feeling touched and like,
oh my gosh,
hearing little things. And I'm like, I don't know if this is
were your dreams super vivid?
Yeah, I always had vivid dreams. I remember my dreams every day when I wake up, and my husband hates it because sometimes I'll be like, I had a dream that you did this and now I'm mad at you, and super dysfunctional in that way.
Right. And you're like, and it's true because it's my dream and I like can see.
It's like my subconscious wounded child had projected onto our relationship and now I'm mad at you.
Oh my gosh. So so you said like around like preteen, that area, you were like, okay, this is something that is specific to me. Do you consider it like a gift, or like how do you, I don't know. I want to make sure
Yeah, I consider it a gift. I know that's not everyone's feeling with it. To me, now that I have boundaries around it and kind of like honed it in and skilled things a bit, it feels like a gift to me.
Yeah. How long did that take you to, and to like really, hone in like what that all was for you?
During my teenage years, like 13, 14, and up until about my early 20s, I really just wanted nothing to do with it.
Really?
Yeah, it was really, there was just a lot of trauma happening in my life too. And I just couldn't really process and hold space for that. And so then I was kind of like in the closet with it and like reading all about all the different things and all that stuff, and started taking like online courses on it and things that. But when I was pregnant with my son, it was like the floodgates just
I've heard that actually.
Open. Yeah.
Is that that's a thing, right?
Yeah. It happens for a lot of people when they get pregnant. It's like, their senses get really, really activated that way. So that's when I was like, okay, I have to refine this even more, because I still didn't really have healthy boundaries around it. And I just don't think I was treating with the right respect and sincerity that it deserves.
Okay. When did it start as something that you did? Like at this point, it's your career, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay. And yeah, when did that start?
That started offering it to strangers.
Yeah.
About 4 years ago.
Okay. Oh, wow. That's pretty.
Yeah.
So like let's say like in high school or whatnot,
Mm-hmm.
would you ever like get something or something would come in and you're like, I have to tell this person what's going on? Like, did that happen to you? Or did you kind of just keep it all to yourself?
I already struggled fitting in. So I had pretty good discernment and be like, I'm not going to do this. Also, it's one thing that I still have a really strong boundary around. Like, I will never go up to a stranger and be like, hey, so-and-so, because
that was one of my questions.
Yeah. The grief experience, I don't know where the living person is. I don't know what kind of day they've had. I just think it's disrespectful, actually. Like, I could sit there and be like, they really want to hear from this person, but I also have to listen to my ego and be like, am I really doing this to be of service to spirit, or am I doing this to make it about me? And
you can do it.
Yeah. And like, what's the best thing for this person? And I've just had an overall pretty much hard no of going up to strangers about it. My friends sometimes like my husband and things like that, I'll be like, hey, I have a message coming through for you. Do you want this? Or I'll text them and things like that. Or if someone's around me, I'll like let them know like, hey, but I always check in with them first. I'm not just like, here's all this stuff. I'm like, yo, do you want to hear from them? Because this person's telling me that they have some things to say to you. But it's really for people that I'm closer to than like
that makes
someone
sense.
At the grocery store.
I was going to ask that. Yeah. Like, is it, because I feel like on TV we see like, oh, we just walked up and like changed this person's life because we had this whole story. And like, obviously that's, TV, but is that happen in your daily life? But you say no.
No, I mean, I don't go up to strangers. I also like put up a lot of energy blocks and boundaries and just kind of like, if I'm gonna be in crowded places, like even flying in today, I got kind of like woozy at the airport because it's just so much energy around that it's very overwhelming. And so I really have to put up my blinders, essentially not open myself up in that way. So I just put up kind of like an energy boundary and just being like, I'm not talking to anyone. No one's talking to me. Like, keep my head down. Leave me alone. Goodbye.
I can't imagine. I'm the person that's like listening to everyone's conversations because I don't have anything going on up there. So I'm just like, what are you saying? Okay, so that's what I was going to ask too. Like, if someone's listening to this that feels something similar, maybe they haven't honed in on it yet. Do you have any like specific practices to turn that off and like you were saying, put that boundary up for your energy? Yeah.
There's a couple things. Well, three things that always help me. One is I have a power animal that is like an animal spirit that I just ask to like come in and be like, you got to help me out right here. I need your support. I need your protection. So I think finding your power animal can be really powerful that way, specifically for those abilities and skill set. I always recenter and ground myself. I notice if I'm feeling overwhelmed, it's usually because I'm not like fully in this realm. So I go back and like do like a little grounding meditation. It can be a 5-minute one and just like imagine myself like rooting down into the earth and going down into my root space. And then, what was my third one? Was that power animal? Grounding. And then, you can do like a energy bubble or like a cloaking thing sometimes. Like it's kind of like I've actually never seen Harry Potter, but I assume in Harry Potter they have an like invisible cloak, right?
Neither have I, so we're talking to the right person.
Okay, well, I feel like the only one, but I just assume in the Harry Potter world they have like an invisible cloak.
I think that's a thing.
Yeah, so I sometimes I sometimes
the invisibility
producer
cloak,
Rainey,
perfect. So I'll sometimes like imagine myself with that, just like cloaking to just be like, I don't want to. I'm setting the boundary that I'm not working. I'm not showing up in service this way right now.
Wow. Okay.
That's
cool. I once talked to a medium spirit but she's specific to animals. And so she talked to me through like my experience with my dog. And one of her pieces of advice was before I go on walks with her, I have to look at her in the eyes and tell her like, we're putting this like cloak, protective bubble around us when we go outside. So you're safe and you're with me, and changed everything. Yeah. Like she was like totally like way less reactive. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah. So do you also do animals, or is
sometimes
like, do they come through?
Yeah, I do. I really like being in person with animals.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I don't do as many remote readings, and sometimes I will. I mean, everything communicates. So I think if you can I think it comes down to the comfortability of like what you feel most connected to. But one of my neighbors, I do regular readings for her and her dogs, and it's super fun. And I'm just like really close to her dogs now because of it.
Yeah. How good are you at keeping plants alive then?
I'm really good at keeping plants alive.
I was going to say, because I feel like that's definitely an energy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Gosh, I need that skill. I have one plant that I've kept alive and I'm so proud.
Do you know what kind?
No idea. It has like leaves and sprouts and it's like this tall and it has to be in the sun. But I talk to her. I play jazz music sometimes for it because I've heard that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they listen and they pick up energies. And I think plants are a really good indicator of the energy in your home too.
Oh, cool.
You know,
so if you're killing your plants, you suck.
I mean, there might be some like, stagnant energy. You might just need to move through some energy in your house. And there's a lot of ways to do it. But I think they're really great communicators of just the energetic like vibe of the atmosphere.
Yeah, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
The vibe. Okay, so what's something you wish people knew about your work that they may not know? It's probably a loaded question.
Yeah. How energetically draining it can be.
Mm.
I think a lot of people think it is like I do like 10 readings a day and all this stuff. And no, it's and it's not for all mediums, but I would say most mediums that I know and psychics and mediums, it can be really energetically draining because it's essentially you're holding space for the energy and translating it and using your own energy. So it's not even so much, I feel like a two-way. I feel like it's like a three-way. It's a three-way. It's a three-way.
Yeah.
And that can be kind of exhausting when you're the one holding the space and kind of like
you're
think of like
coordinating it all.
Yeah. And so you kind of have to have your attention in a lot of different places. And I find a lot of sensitives and those that are psychics and mediums, not all, I'm not trying to like put everyone in one container, but I just find a theme of being neurodivergent or on the spectrum or having ADHD or ADD. And so already when you're like, blah, like overwhelmed or have trouble focusing and things like that, it adds another layer onto it.
Oh, I bet. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So this leads me into, I always ask people this when they first meet you and like it's a stranger, they say, what do you do for work? Or like, they, obviously people ask that all the time. Do you say what you do or do you just like, I don't want to get into this? Because they're going to be like, oh, can you read me?
Yeah. I usually lead with, it's never just psychic medium because it's only one aspect of what I do, right? Mm-hmm. So I usually tell them I'm in like the spiritual field. Okay. And then,
more questions.
I kind of see where that registers with them. And then I will, sometimes they're like, oh, what does that mean? And I'm like, well, but I'm never just, I'm a psychic medium because that's only part of my services and offerings. So.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. I think I asked this kind of, but you were saying, because I've read a book called The Gift and it talked a lot about, I don't know if you've heard of it, but talked a lot about like different people's gifts in the sense of mediumship specifically and how some mediums can see things, some feel, some hear, some like all across. There's people that do all. And I was reading about a girl actually who like saw physical, like she couldn't tell the difference between a spirit and like a regular person. What do you like pick up? You were saying you close your eyes. Like what's that experience like for you when something comes through?
So it sounds like they were talking about all the different clairs.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah. Okay. So clair audience, clair sentience, clair, I can't even think now. There goes my like brain into outer space being like too many words. Yeah. And so I do think so. I think people have one that's stronger than the other. Okay. For me, it actually kind of depends on the spirit. So if that spirit was really like vision led, I usually get more pictures. If they were super chatty, I hear more things. Okay. So for me, like when I do it, I really let the spirit, like my voice doesn't change to that person, but I'm like, hey, listen, like you get to use me and my clairs in my toolbox to talk to this person. Yeah. So you're whatever like your way is. Yeah. And I'm like, here you go. And so I find it's kind of different per spirit. Okay. But I guess on like the regular daily thing is when it kind of like leaks in, it's more of my, what they call clear knowing, which is you just know for some reason and you don't really know why you know. Yeah. And sometimes I'll say some people are like, did I tell you that? I'm like, I don't know.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I do have a question if you're open to it. Would you be open to like a little small reading with me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I don't even know what.
Yeah.
Do you need to ask me questions?
So it wouldn't be like straight mediumship. I can go to like kind of like a psychic more realm. But the first thing for just everyone listening, if they're thinking about opening up to like psychic abilities and mediumship, is to get consent. So just like anything, you ask consent to touch someone. Energetically tuning into someone's energy or cross over loved one, I believe, requires consent too. It's a boundary. Boundaries are everywhere, even in the spirit world.
No, it makes sense.
So normally I would take people through like a grounding visualization, so like that, but I probably won't do that right now.
But you have my consent.
Okay, so I have your consent to tune into your energy.
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I've never like done this.
Sorry,
like with the whole group. No, it's cool. This is good.
We got some people in the room.
A good thing for me. I'm gonna need a moment.
Okay.
I guess it's probably a good time to let all your listeners know that my eyes are closed.
Oh yeah, I'm a bad sorry. Her eyes are closed and she's getting into the groove. And I am waiting for it to happen. But also don't want to disrupt her, so that's why I'm staying somewhat quiet.
Oh, we can trim the silence.
No worries. We can.
Okay.
We love it.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to like just be really transparent with, because I saw your stories the other day, or yesterday. Yesterday, you had hypnosis.
I did.
Which I already knew. This is not me feeling right. Did you notice anything? So right now what I'm doing, just so everyone like kind of knows, I'm not like trying to connect with crossed over grandpa or whatever, everything like that, because that's like a whole, I would be on the floor.
Did you get that? Did you know it's my grandpa, or did you just say that?
I just said it.
Oh, okay.
So what?
So she's doing not a dead loved one.
Not
she's
like
doing
specifically. Yeah, like normally it'd be like a whole thing we send on RSVP, because I'm an evidential mediumship. So I'd be like, okay, here's what's coming through. Tell me these things of, if you can confirm it's them. It's not just like, I'm not like, this person's coming through and they were really nice. It's like, no, this is like very specific things.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like a whole pre-care, post-care thing. So more I'm kind of like tuning into your energy and kind of asking what I call your spiritual team to kind of give some guidance and just like insight about it.
Okay.
I would be really aware of your throat space after hypnosis and any throat space healing. Are you familiar with like chakra healing and things like that?
I'm not familiar with how to heal.
So this is like expression outward. I would notice your lymphatic system. I would take really good care of that, because even though hypnosis is like, rewiring your brain and all that stuff, I would pay attention to how it affects your lymphatic system. But I also would notice just if your throat starts to hurt or anything like that, I feel like you carry a lot of energy around here.
Yeah.
And to be really mindful of when that gets kind of cleared out, it's going to be a little more tenderized. So it's kind of like, just be like really loving. I would maybe do some like throat coat and things like that, and really take care of that space for you, because I feel like you carry energy around here a lot.
Yeah. That's, according to my human design, my biggest chakra is my throat chakra.
Okay. And so this may be literal water, or, essentially what they do is they use my toolbox. I'm just going to kind of like over explain things.
Yeah.
They pull out signs and symbols that are really specific to me. So like, I love astrology. Sometimes they'll show me like astrology stuff and I'm like, it means this or that. But for you, they're showing me water. So I don't know if there's like, it kind of feels like if I was put on a boat and pushed out into an ocean, and if you've ever stood on a boat and it feels like a little rocky, it's almost like a sailboat, and like the way when you hit the wind, you like need the wind, but when it picks up, it's kind of like, oh gosh. But it feels like there's this feeling of like the emotional currency of things and the way that the emotions move. And when they come in really fast for you, like you might feel like your footing's off a little bit, but you kind of need to lean into that and kind of like because of the quality of air, like let your thoughts guide you emotionally. Like let your logic work with your emotions, because it feels like it might kind of feel like your emotions set you off, but the logic comes in and kind of like carries you through, and you kind of have to like find your like sea legs with that essentially.
That makes sense. Also in my hypnosis yesterday, they said the same thing. She was like, your logical brain works really well, but you don't like get your like self right with your creative side, and you need to have them both come together better in some way of that. So
this is where I do boundary check-in with you really fast.
Okay.
Someone on your spiritual team is showing me what I think is like the Cancer ribbon. Like the little, jeez, I keep hitting this mic, like the little loopy thing.
Like if I have
like, I don't know if that like runs in the family. There's kind of acknowledging. I just tell you everything I'm like seeing and feeling. Yeah. So it's just like a little loop-de-loop thing, which I think is like a little Cancer ribbon thing.
But yeah, you can say anything if it's.
No, I just like, I don't want to scare. Whenever I bring up healthy people, like, oh my gosh, no. You know, and I'm like, no, it doesn't mean. It's just like, I'm just going to tell you everything I'm seeing and feeling. Sometimes it's just an acknowledgement. Yeah. I also feel like they should, like, your ambiguous spiritual team. I don't know if you're from here originally or if something's going to pull you, I feel like, to more Southern California.
Okay.
I want to say it's like that. It just feels a little more closer to like a San Diego area or something like that. So kind of put a pin in it to see what opportunities or just what pulls you. It could, just be, it's just significant is what I want to say. So I don't know if like you're going to go there on a trip and you meet like a really great new friend, something like that. There's just a significance of being pulled down to Southern California. So I would look at any opportunities to go down there or anything that draws you down there.
Okay. It's not the love of my life. I have a boyfriend, but you never know. He's never going to listen to this. I think I talk shit about him on every podcast. I don't want to interrupt her, but I also am like, forget this is a podcast.
Hang on, I'll like wrap up with one thing. It's like a little, I'm just going to tell you what I'm seeing. I don't know exactly, like, I'm like, I think it's this, but I don't want to overly use my logic brain because it can really pull me out. It's not a wallet. It's like a little, it feels old, like an old, so it could just be like someone on the other side. It's just like, it's essentially like being at the DMV right now. Like there's just a lot of energies. And so it could be a mix of crossover loved ones, guides, and all that stuff. But essentially someone like some energy is like very much associated with like a little, I don't know if it's like a little coin purse or it's like this little, it's like this big and it has a zipper, but it's not a wallet. I mean, it could have been a wallet, but it just doesn't feel like, the way we put cards on stuff. It's like this little tiny thing that they're like carrying. I feel like they give you like these little these little things. Like it reminds me of like when you go to like I don't know if they still have these at grocery stores. Remember when you just like put your coins in there and like turn the dial and get like the little thing in the plastic thing, like these little knick-knacky things. It's like these little things that they're putting this little pocket zippy bag thing. But it's a bunch of like little tiny things, like little knick-knacky things. Like it just feels like these little like knick-knacky things that aren't like actually valuable. Like they're sentimental, but they're not like actually like, oh, this is like a sapphire or whatever, it's just like these little tiny things that they put in there.
Interesting. Trying to make a connection there.
You don't have to like, don't even like worry about doing it right now. It could come to you later. I don't want you to like rack your brain over this.
No. It's like now that when it comes up later in life, I'm going to be like, oh.
God, I keep getting drawn here. Sorry. I'm trying to see if they can give me anything else around this. It's just like really active.
No, it's okay.
They bring this up.
We probably have to wrap up anyway.
Okay.
Just because of time. Podcast. Podcast time.
Okay. I'll like see if anything comes through while I'm chatting with you.
Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good.
I feel like it's like you have to come out of it and then
No, you're good.
Thank you so much for doing that, by the way. I know it's like a whole separate thing, especially to do on a podcast. So we're really going to switch it up here and do a quick rapid fire.
Okay.
It's going to be fine. Basically, it's my smash or pass game.
Okay.
So just like it or not. So smash or pass. If you like it, smash it. If you don't, pass it. Okay. Ready?
Yes.
Blueberry muffins.
Pass.
Large cities.
Oh, pass.
Coffee.
Pass.
Crocs.
Pass.
Ouija boards.
Pass.
Okay, good to know. Football.
Pass.
Yoga pants.
Smash.
Okay. Lizards.
Smash.
Nice. Spiritual mentorship.
Smash.
Nice. Well, thank you so much for coming today and sharing a little bit about what you do. Where can people find you if they want to work with you or just to follow along on your journey? Can you give us all the things?
Yeah, so I'm mostly on Instagram at Nicole Burron, little dot, little period, psychic medium. And then I have another Instagram that just launched called Cosmic Authenticity Academy for Psychic and Mediumship Development.
Nice.
I am kind of on TikTok. I get overwhelmed there, but it does exist, and there's videos that people can resource. It's just at Nicole Burron.
Okay. And you have a website?
And my website is Oh So Magical Life, but I made it difficult and I put a dash in between the O and the so. So,
all, it happens. We'll put all this in the show notes. Yeah, we'll put it all in the show notes so they can find you. And
okay, wait, I have a question. So the coin purse thing or like the wallet, that actually is relevant to me. My Nana, like my heirloom that I got from her and she recently passed was like this little silver coin purse thing. So I don't know if that happens, like if the energy can transfer, but that might have been for me.
Yes, definitely for you. This happens a lot just because there's so much energy in the room. And as much as like I want to focus on one person, if spirit is like dead set on coming through, they will come through. And you said she recently passed?
Yeah, she recently passed. And like I knew we were having a medium on and I like just put this intention out before. I was like, oh, I hope like my Nana says something somehow. And so like that was really cool.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Because I was sitting here like I'm sorry, but like the purse means nothing to me. But I'm gonna like rack my brain and what?
Because at first you were saying too like a bullet or something, and like the purse is like a silver like purse, like a silver dart. Yeah.
Yeah. So. What's up, Nana?
Yeah. What's up? You out there? I love it.
Well, that was a perfect ending. So, well, yeah. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
And thank you for doing that for us. And the best day. That was really cool. Okay. Yeah.